Hello everybody, this is Ben Hanson from MinnMax. We're a Patreon about games, friends, and getting better. And no, this video is not about Before Crisis. This is about something a little bit bigger than that. Let's wind back the clock to June 10th, 2014, to when Square-Enix announced Final Fantasy VII G-Bike. Do you remember this? Yeah, it was a free-to-play mobile game, but please don't stop the video, there's an interesting story here. And it serves as a gateway of sorts to the full Final Fantasy VII Remake. So with G-Bike, they took the motorcycle sequence from the main game, then also from the Gold Saucer, and packed in as many cameos and boss fights as possible. Guard Scorpion again? Really? This guy? The game had you equipping different materia, learning new limit breaks, upgrading your bike with designs approved by Nomura. It put the thrills of Ride to Hell Retribution right in the palm of your hands. So the game was actually developed by CyberConnect 2, who you might know from Asura's Wrath and the just-released Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. And it seems like Square-Enix at the time was using the mobile game as a test for the outside development team. According to this interview from Weekly Famitsu, which came via Kotaku, Final Fantasy VII's original director Kitase said, quote, "Whenever we talked with Nomura about a project that would require outsourcing, his first choice was always CyberConnect 2. If more is to come, this is the starting point. So both myself and Nomura are closely observing G-Bike's quality." In that interview, Kitase was even asked about the potential of a Final Fantasy VII Remake, which, back in 2014 was a very exciting prospect. And he said, "Mr. Matsuyama of CyberConnect 2 is making the foundation, and after the path has been paved, we might think about making it. In terms of the quality level and consumer response, it may all depend on G-Bike. We're looking forward to the results." It may all depend on G-Bike is a wild sentence to come from Kitase. And on their end, CyberConnect 2 seemed ecstatic about the challenge ahead of them, with the CEO Matsuyama on a panel, which also had the executive producer from Square there as well. Matsuyama said, quote, "If the G-Bike succeeds, let's seriously think about remaking Final Fantasy VII. Besides 7, there are also Final Fantasy 8 and 9. The sky was the limit with this guy. He was so excited about this deal. Matsuyama even said that he wanted to release G-Bike on the PlayStation Vita. That obviously did not happen. So the mobile game was released in October of 2014, and apparently the development went well enough for Square Enix to trust CyberConnect 2 with a huge role when it came to the actual Final Fantasy VII Remake that was announced during E3 2015. Nomura even said that specifically he was impressed by the team's commitment to action gameplay and their video production expertise, which is an interesting detail. And this is where things really go off the rails for CyberConnect 2 and Final Fantasy VII. So in interviews, Kitase said there was a struggle to align the original team's vision with CyberConnect 2, even for the look and feel of the remake's reveal trailer. Then Square Enix decided to scrap their plans of bringing Final Fantasy VII G-Bike to the West, and also they shut down the entire game in December of 2015, saying, quote, "Although we were pushing forward with discussions until now, we've come to the conclusion that from here it will be difficult to provide a service that will satisfy our users. So today we've decided to end service." So they're just erasing this game from existence. They even took the G-Bike Twitter account and converted it, and now in Japan that is the official remake account. I actually visited Square Enix in March of 2016 for Game Informer's cover story on Final Fantasy 15, and I know at that point Square Enix was developing a decent portion of the Final Fantasy VII Remake in-house. There's also the trip where I got to meet Kitase, and he said, "Hey, you're not one of those fans that's going to be angry when we make changes to the remake, right?" And I said, no. It's your game. Go nuts. Then in May of 2017, it was revealed that Square Enix was moving the development of Final Fantasy VII's remake fully in-house. And there were a lot of whispers and rumors saying that they actually scrapped everything that CyberConnect 2 had done up to that point because it didn't meet their standard. Last year at E3 2019, I actually spoke with CyberConnect 2's director for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, who would not say whether or not he worked on the Final Fantasy VII Remake, but with a title that high up, I'd have to imagine that he did. And also when we asked, it was very much like, "All right, I guess we're going to talk about this." But he said, quote, "I think as a fan and as a creator, I have very, very high expectations for what the Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to bring to all these long-awaited fans, as well as the industry. I think I'm genuinely just excited to see how it will be packaged, and how this game is going to end up looking in its final form." So they were kicked off the project, but ended up tackling another gigantic project with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. We talked more about the history of CyberConnect 2 and Final Fantasy VII's Remake on the MinnMax Show podcast. New episodes airing every Thursday on YouTube and your favorite podcast app if you're into that sort of thing. I really wish Final Fantasy VII G-Bike was still available to play somewhere. It sucks to have the developer's history with Final Fantasy VII just wiped from the face of the earth. There's always YouTube videos showing off gameplay, and I guess I can console myself with even more footage of that lovable rogue, the Guard Scorpion. Seriously, just think about the total trailer screen time the Guard Scorpion has had this decade. It's absurd. Oh, and hey, if you're a Final Fantasy VII fan, odds are high that you're also a fan of Chrono Trigger. Right now at MinnMax, we're actually playing through all of Chrono Trigger with the community in a massive game club discussion that we call the Deepest Dive. I promise it'll be the best, most thorough podcast conversation you've ever heard about Chrono Trigger. You can find it on MinnMax's YouTube channel or the audio version on patreon.com/MinnMax, and that's 2 N's. Thanks for watching, everybody. From in-depth game club discussions with the community to live streams every single week, weekly podcasts, exclusive videos, everything under the sun is at patreon.com/MinnMax2Ns. Check it out, everybody.